chaos. It's been chaos the past 48 hours because I've had so much work on. But we're going to change that today. So, low down before we actually get started, even though we're starting late today, we're doing a 3-hour study with me, no breaks. This does not mean that you cannot go to the toilet, you cannot go and quickly fetch a drink. If you have a dog who's hyperactive and needs a toilet, let the dog out. That's the whole point of it. I mean, I have a cup of tea, flask of tea, water, some grapes to snack on, also some chocolate for a treat halfway through. So if you're all prepared, but remember, you can go and get to the toilet, it doesn't take away from your time. It's just, you know, you have to do what you have to do. If someone rings your doorbell, answer it. So I will keep the volume on full unless, as you already saw, someone rings the doorbell and the dog goes absolutely balmy. And then also, as you can see, she's now very quiet and loyal. But hi, lovely to see all of you who are joining me today. Thank you. I've got Anna, Lil, Babette, Mayweather. Hi, it's Eric, isn't it? So Refe. So it should have been for today, but thank you all for coming along to the study with me. We're going to do 3 hours. I'm putting my phone on Do Not Disturb. Does this mean that it won't make any noises? I don't know. I swear Apple lies about it. When they say Do Not Disturb, I swear I still receive texts during this period. So I'm going to use Study Bunny with me. So Study Bunny is an app where I have this little cute white bunny, and I'm going to set her as a timer for 3 hours. As you can see, look at the little thing. And I'm working on a conference paper. So for anyone, do you want to share what you're working on today for the, next 3 hours together? I'm working on a conference paper. I've got a conference paper I've got a conference I'm speaking at on the 19th of June. I'm talking about classical misappropriation and white genocide. Cheery stuff. What the myth of white genocide should express. Oh, I'm so tired. The myth of white genocide. Basically, I'm tearing apart alt-right ideologies and the misappropriation of classical symbolism. So it would be great. And I'm so glad people are like, yeah, the support session seems like a brilliant idea. Sana, hope this helps. I find it really useful to feel like people are here in the chat holding me accountable. And I feel hopefully you'll feel the same if I'm glaring down at you. So to wrap it all up, I hope you've got bits. If you see me vanish, it's purely for the toilet or letting the dog out for the toilet. But we're keeping the timer going because they're essentials. Keep social media blocked on your main website because I'm typing, you're PV typing. Keep social medias blocked. It does not, it's just because we're on the computers together does not mean that we have any reason to be on our blinking social medias. So aside from that, but catch up on reading, excellent. It's a conference we can attend. Anna, for anyone interested, yes, we can attend the conference. It's AMPAL, A-M for mother, P-A-L, AMPAL conference at the Reading University 2021. I think the sign-ups are available now. I'm performing on I'm literally the final speaker. It's a Saturday. I am the last speaker at like 3:30 in the afternoon. So absolutely welcome. When AMPAL starts selling, I think they do sell the tickets. It's free to attend. You just book yourself in. So if anyone wants to hear, we talk about very depressing stuff, please well. Bachelor's thesis going on. Not as a stalker, someone just in fascism theory. But so yeah, I've got my hair bubble, tied up my hair, ready for some working period today. Hi darling, the dog may be joining me on my lap. So are we all ready? Let me set myself a timer. You may have a timer as well on your end. But again, remember, just take a break when you need, like not a break, just go to a PE. But the idea is to steady focus for the next few, 3 hours. So Chinsia, 3, 6, 9. I'm like doing my mathematician in myself. Oh, okay, I found out that the maximum Study Buddy does is 3 hours. So we are going to be starting. Let the dog join me. And so we are starting in 3, 2, 1. Good girl. The noise! People, we did it. For 3 hours, we have just worked our little wee butts off. So, it's playing ads. So, I can't show you the actual complete time. We have to wait 20 seconds and Archie showed me. But how did everyone do? My update is I'm on the conclusion of my conference paper, which I feel confident that I can finish tomorrow. And then I will do a practice read because I only have 20 minutes to speak, so I don't know if it's too short, too little, but I thought if I go for 7 pages of writing, and I know most of my friends do 8 pages, so, oh, there we go. There we go, so we did, that's our little study money update, and I earned a grand total of 18 coins for working 3 consecutive hours, which I think is poo. I was like, come on, really? I earned 18 port coins. But there we go. So congratulations, everyone. Round of applause to you for getting there. So yes, I feel confident in being able to complete my paper tomorrow and then do a practice talk by myself. And then if that all goes well, I can then start putting together the actual, like if it works out timing wise, if it's working for 20 minutes and all that jazz, then I'll work on doing a PowerPoint presentation. So, yay, congratulations everyone. I think everyone joined in at different times. Good morning and good evening, wherever you are in the world. We have lots of people from everywhere. I'm glad people found it helpful for working. I will keep this up for later dates, but I will edit out the beginning where my dog barked. Oh no, only got distracted from TikTok for 10 minutes. So this one's quite good about having the Study Bunny app because it makes you feel guilty. Or just a kind of app that blocks your screen from being used for anything else. So I say this, I don't think I missed anything. No one messaged me. No one. So I say this, I would have got distracted by nothing. For 3 hours, no one contacted me, no one rang me, no one posted on social media, nothing. So it was different from me. I do realise it was early for the EST time, but if I do it any later, some people go like, oh no, you do it too late. So I do early ones on the weekend because also it just gets me in the room. Everyone's like, the dog at the very beginning, she barks a lot and it slows down the video. So I probably will delete that bit. But the dog in between, she'll stay in. But really the dog at the beginning, that, you know, it's so noisy. I don't think anyone would appreciate keeping her in there. But the dog in between, and wherever she pops in, I keep in. So, but I'm glad people got some stuff done. I know I did. I feel more confident now with my paper basically hopefully being done. If anything, now all I have to do is practice reading it, finish conclusion, practice reading it, and doing the actual what do you call it? Not PDF, PowerPoint. There we go. I'm too old for this stuff. So, I'm glad, Babette, it helped you feeling helpful, terrible at working for papers and studying. See, I'm the same. I feel less alone. Actually, at one point, I kind of forgot you guys were here, and I flicked tabs. I was like, oh my god, I'm being watched. Completely forgot. That was very getting into some deep stuff in my paper. It's the amount of trigger warnings that I've had to give over to the Reading University holding the conference that I'm speaking at is insane. Like, it was like 3 sentences worth of trigger warnings. It's very, very dark. Oh, thank you. Everyone says they love it. This is the cardigan I had in my haul, like when I did my closet haul. It's one my auntie gave me many years ago, back when I, oh God, must have been back when I lived in England. So we're talking like 8-9 years ago. And it's still in pretty good shape. It's not that warm here. It said it was going to be 16 degrees here in Scotland today. Was it heck? So no, I'm glad people found it really. Yes, I will link to Study Bunny in the future. I mean, that's the only one I use. And I feel boring, like I'm scared I'm boring people by repeating myself, but Study Bunny I like. She's got her own little jumper now. She has a little window with autumnal views. I did like the snow scene. She's got a pair of books. Like, you buy her little things the more you study. I want to buy her a little fire, like live fire that she can watch and play with, all that jazz. So I do love Little Study Bunny. It's my favourite so far. I found the plant ones to be less rewarding. I like buying things for my bunny. So yes, we have a few minutes if anyone wants to chat about anything or ask any questions, or just congratulations for everyone being productive. If there's anything like you want to decompress and just chat about whilst you're here, and topics of the day and all that jazz, more than happy to have a wee discussion with you all, because I'm pooped. And in fact, let's make this room a bit prettier. Alexa, turn the room on. Boom. There we go. So we have yes, so one question is about the conference. So I will pop in the chat now. That is the link to the conference that I'm going to be speaking at. I'm speaking on the 19th, and I'm the last speaker. So I'm basically at 3:30 in the afternoon, I believe, on the 19th. And it's free, it's live streamed, anyone can attend. So if you're interested, just buy a little it's free. But you have to purchase a ticket to go for it. I'm glad you had fun, Anna. It's a little bit of delay due to the latency, so apologies if you're seeing my delayed response. But I'm glad people are I'm feeling a lot better now, having worked on the Sunday. I'm so confused with my days. Working on a Saturday, even if it's like solid 3 hours, I sometimes feel that's more productive than random odd hours where I get bored and distracted. And sometimes it's kind of depressing to see that no one messaged me. I was like, really? No one knew I was gone for those 3 hours. No one was waiting for me. No one wanted to chat to me. No one. It's fine. Fine. I accept my fate. So Doc Marmalade, my conference paper is Classical Misappropriation and the Myth of White Genocide. So cheery subject. It's lots of trigger warnings. It's got vile examples of people misusing classical appropriation, but I think it's very important for classicists to discuss this, because otherwise we just kind of ignore those happening, and then we continue to teach this fantasy version of white Greco-Roman history, which isn't accurate. And then when the media does start representing it more accurately, like multi-diversity in Roman Britain, for example, like black people being in relationships in the Roman Empire, in like not in slave, status, people are like, this isn't historically accurate, you're pandering. And I'm like, no, it is historically accurate. The classicists and historians and basically just politics and history have just whitewashed it, and then it's a whole mission to now actually show, not diversify it, make it accurate again. It's not even diversifying, it's correcting history as it is. So basically my talk's all about how white supremacists tend to use ancient Greek and Roman symbolism to try and fight their white agenda, and I'm like, well, no, let's shoot down your white agenda, because it's totally a myth. So that's what the paper's all about. Thank you for, oh, Christy, you didn't message me until after the live. Thank you. I didn't know if you were here or not. I know you said you were going to. I was like, I'm not sure if she's well enough, but yay, thank you. I hope you got some stuff done. Anna, I'm not as productive as everyone else, I think. So I have to go and continue working for now, but this was good. I'm glad it helped, Anna. Keep doing you, keep fighting the good fight. Hey, getting an hour's work done on a Saturday is better than getting no work done on a Saturday, in my opinion, unless you're having a Saturday off, then that's fine. Embrace having a relaxing time. Someone commented on this. It's actually just a hair bubble with some kind of silkiness on it. It's not really a fancy tie, but it looks quite nice in my hair. I find it quite nice having in my hair. But I feel less anxious now going into tomorrow, knowing that I actually have the paper basically written, unless it's too short, and then I'll panic and I'll be like, oh, it's too short. Let me look at someone's asked about the category. You are non-speakers, so if you want to attend the event, just go for the category non-speakers, and you get to attend the whole thing. You're just an audience member. So yeah, and there should be some good speakers. I've seen the lineup. It's a 3-day conference, but it's only for a few hours each day. It's not like a full day. So I think it's like 11 till 4 or something like that. You can just hop in and out, and there's several speakers on all at the same time. I didn't realize how big it was. I'm like, oh, but I'm literally the last speaker. So I was like, basically, no one's going to be there, or everyone's going to be there. It's going to be either one or. There's not going to be like a drifting in and out. There's like either everyone will be there, or no one will be there by that time. So it'd be funny. How are you feeling about the conference? Thank you for asking, Babette. I'm feeling nervous, but also very excited. But, you know, it's my first ever conference. So I'm taking it quite easy with the actual paper itself, like, because it doesn't have to be, it's very quick, and it's almost like a blog post, because it's not like it's going to be like, I don't know how to explain. It's just basically information that I'm pulling from everywhere to like make into a conversation. It's not like writing an essay where you have to be like, oh, resource this, resource that, footnote this, footnote that. It's more of a light-hearted kind of essay writing, which I enjoy, because I feel like I'm just learning as I'm writing it up. I'm like, oh, I'm learning information as I'm writing this thing up. Whereas with an essay or something, if I was writing a paper, it would be far more stressful to me. So I find conference papers are far more fun to just put together and just be like, okay, this is a topic, flow from one, here's some information from, you know, these sources and stuff like that. Whereas the paper, it's like, it has to be totally original. You can't like do anything wrong. I don't know. It's a much less stressful situation, unless someone were to turn around after that paper and be like, I really enjoyed your conference talk, write a paper on it. But like, no, the fun's been taken. When I'm doing a conference paper, to me, it almost feels like I'm doing a YouTube video, if that makes sense. So I think that's how it, so to me, it's like just doing another YouTube video for research, just do. Here's loads of sources, put them in like a nice order and make a structure, and then make a conclusion and introduction. So it's kind of like just presenting evidence, like introduction, evidence, conclusion, but you don't have to be, you know, like fluffy language and sentence structures perfect and things like that, and all this like exact citation, footnote and all that jazz. It's just like a chill writing session with yourself, which I quite enjoyed. So it was Kay Walton. I love this time because I was in the morning and being productive in the morning, and it puts me in a great mood for the rest of the day. I'm the same. This morning I can be productive. I had to go to the dentist. It was the first time I went to the dentist in obviously a year and a half because of COVID. Having a scrape. My teeth still hurt. It was a very painful experience. I was like, oh my god, my poor teeth. Because there's some people like to point out on YouTube all the time, I have crooked teeth. Yes, I have crooked teeth. I have 6 wisdom teeth that no dentist wants to pull. Like, they're like, but you have 6 wisdom teeth, keep them. And I'm like, pull them, my teeth are crooked, and like, keep them. So I have crooked teeth because I have 6 wisdom teeth and a very tiny face, really. I'm only 5'1". So having a cleaning when you have like crooked teeth is just so painful, but I'm so glad I did it. I felt like zen. Well, I don't know. Maybe that Friday I was really productive as well, but really I spent 2 hours adding Russian language heavy metal to my Spotify. I like that. Hey, it's productive in some way. Oh no, Kay Walton, I feel you. The dentist, it was horrible. I'm sending love. I looked in the mirror afterwards when I came home, because obviously you can't look at your teeth, you're wearing a mask afterwards. So when I came home, I was like, actually, she did a really good job. Really painful, but she did a really good job. But I really hate it. I really hated that experience so much. And I've got to pop to the shops after all this evening. Yeah, and all the things. When you have to do, I'll do that late evening, late night time. I'm not going to the shops now. I'm too happy having just written all that crap. But I'm glad, Christy, you also like feel that about the papers. It's just like a less stressful version of doing an actual paper. It's just like I just have to talk. Like a lot of people I know who do their PhDs and have been doing lots of conferences for a while, literally don't even bother now. Some of them don't even bother writing up anything because they know the topic so well that it's like, I'll just stand there and give a talk for 20 minutes about what I'm doing, and they just do it off the fly. It's just more of a chillaxed version going forward. But I'm excited to do the paper, and it was nice to hear that my supervisor was impressed. She was like, oh, that's a good place to start your paper. But in other news, I don't think there's much more for me to say. I've been having a rejig with YouTube as well, because there's some of you here, so I might as well chat to you all. Thank you also for the people who liked the stream. Really appreciate that, you doing that. Oh my god, your cousin is a dentist? Like, is your dentist? That I had a girl at school whose father was her dentist, and their dental surgery was in their house. That's awkward. Like, everything happened in their house. But as for the channel, I don't know. I think it makes more. I say this as someone who's clearly going to still talk about like finance and stuff, but I'm doing a little series that's going to be not things that people watch. Like, most people aren't going to watch how to apply for a PhD and how to write a PhD application and things like that. Very few people are going to need that who are subscribed to my channel, but I thought I'd like to make that content anyway to help people. So if they do a Google search, they can find it, and I'll do a blog post on my website. I've got the Personal Philosophy Project has its own website, so I want to start doing articles that are helpful for people from my own experience. So I want to start doing things like that. And I say this, I had a moment last night where I was like, I think the channel, as unpopular as this decision's going to be, because I know a lot of people don't like it when I do this, but I'm going to go very much back to talking about books and my reading in academia, because I think that to me is going to be much more rewarding. I know I loved it when I was at university, and I will still do podcast talks about, like, I'll be doing so basically I'll be talking more about books and so like things like that, and then I'll be talking more about books. And then my podcast series is going to be more on like life things, like money. So one of the topics I have in my head is like not controversial, but basically Chinsia off the rails. Chinsia's going to have a rant about women with tattoos and why people treat them differently, particularly in academia and business. Would I do anything on the stock market? Not an informed one. I have a lot of opinions on it. I'm part of a stock market group, and basically for the past year, they all thought it was a clever idea to invest, and I just literally watched all these lads in the stock market group lose a ton of money. So I was like, it's heartbreaking to watch. I don't have any advice on it. I rather invest in things like pensions at the moment. I'm still in the very baby terms of investment, or ISAs, lifetime ISAs, baby investments. There's one thing that I'd like to buy some stocks in, aside from that one thing, which I've emailed the company about and is doing it through a different system. I'm not a very good financial advisor, so I wouldn't want to talk about like the whole stock market. I have opinions on bros doing stocks, which is very funny, but aside from that. Yeah, things are going back to normal. Christy, just wait until they ask you to write a journal article because your homework's over. Not going to happen. I'll make a good enough paper that they will like, good enough like thing that like, it was good, but not good enough. And that's what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for good, but not good enough. Also because it's it's the university doing it, so I don't think they'll do any published papers, so I'm lucky. You're not. It's great that you're going to publish. But things are going back to normal here in the US, but I don't know how I feel about it, especially since globally things are still crazy with COVID. It's interesting to see how casual the US has been for quite a few months, to be honest. Like, literally, we only came out of lockdown here in Scotland a month ago today. Now I'm looking at it, it was like the 29th of April, like all the shops were still closed. And yet I was watching YouTubers in America who are like shopping, going to theme parks, going to restaurants, going to cinemas, and like swimming. I'm like, what? You're allowed to do that? We're getting vaccinated. I'm getting my vaccination in 2 weeks' time, which is very exciting. My friend's getting hers in a couple of days' time. I'm quite jealous. But I will be talking a lot about anxiety of adjusting, because one of my, I'm not sure to make it, you decide for me. I'm not sure whether or not I should make it about the next podcast, which will be this Sunday. Oh no, next Sunday, not this Sunday. I was going to say, like, I thought it was like Friday then. No, it's next Sunday, the next podcast. I wasn't sure if I should do it on tattoos in academia or anxiety and the lost year that we've just had. I think I'll be doing it on the lost year and the emotions and feeling of basically losing a year and a half of our lives and how I'm trying to adjust to that mentally. I think that's quite prevalent. I think a lot of people are feeling it, like depression and anxiety coming out of this. Like, my year's been on standstill for my life has been on standstill for a whole year. So I may be doing that. I think actually I will be doing that, and I'll be up next Sunday. Krishna, oh my god, I decided to apply for a PhD instead of a master's earlier this week, so I'm going to go watch your upbeat. Yay! I'm so glad that's going to be hopefully useful. Good for you. I mean, that's a big jump to go straight from undergraduate to PhD, but if your research and your grades are good enough, then go for it. I wanted to get a lip tattoo secretly, but I can't because I could never get a lip tattoo. I think that'd be too painful to get there. Oh yay! Bringing back, talking about books is great. I love you going back to books and academia. It's how I discover your channel. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I will be talking about money and stuff, but there's only so much I can talk about money. I think that kind of stuff will be happening more on my podcast now, because I don't know, I'm just going to do whatever I want now. Basically, I was staying clear of books because no one was watching anything book related. And I was like, well, academia is going to be such a big part of my life for the next 6 years that I can't avoid it. And, you know, hopefully I'll be saving money for the next 6 years. I can talk about things like that. But I really like talking about academia and reading in general. So hopefully I can make some interesting content on that. ADHD, I'm in the same boat. Most of my friends invest. I love watching the ups and downs. It's kind of like a sadistic thing, isn't it? We just sit there going, like, you see them all like ping to each other. You're like, oh god, they've gone down. Or they're like, I didn't sell it quick enough, and I'm like, oh. Janice, I enjoy all your content, but I started reading books that weren't designed to be read at 27 for the first time in my life because of you talking about books and how passionate. Thank you, I'm so glad. We were Vaccination Club, and Texas has been loose on restrictions for a while. I heard Texas was all over the news over here. They're being so loose on it. Nick had his second vaccination this morning. I hope it's okay because I've heard the second one's nasty. I mean, someone I know has had their first one and they were in their 40s and it really affected them. And so I'm like, oh no, I'm so scared. But I'd rather have that than COVID. So I was like, oh, I'm scared, but also. Janice, yes, please talk about the anxiety. My workplace is still on the highest lockdown possible. We don't leave the property at all because the animals we work with can get hurt. Oh my God, yes. I mean, it may be scary to read, but I read a book called Spillover by... I've got a Q in my head. I've got the letter Q, let me see. I think it's like David Quammen. Let me see, Spillover. David Quammen. Oh yes, well done, Chinsia. Spillover by David Quammen. And he's obviously talks about how he basically predicted COVID and viruses and the effect, how pandemics happen through animal, was basically animals. Bats are like the main source a lot of the time, and then humans are normally infected through an animal, like a domesticated animal, like livestock, and how that happens. So stay safe because, yeah, it's how pandemics are happening. It's because of the close integration between livestock and very poor farming practices. And although they do think now, I mean, there's evidence to suggest it's all still a theory, but there could have been a lab leak, whatever. Very interesting. It's a very interesting time that we live in, as horrifying as it is. Do I enjoy horror or thriller books? No. I like ghost stories. So I like scary stories, but I don't like thrillers. And I've read a few and I just never liked them. And I don't like murdery kind of stuff. And yet I love true crime, but I don't like reading true crime books. I find them quite dull. I'd rather listen to a true crime podcast than that, which is really weird. I know, it's so weird. Content like how much research and knowledge production works in academia and humanities would be super cool. Sana, please elaborate. Like, as in academia, explained in popularized ways, but not the cost of integrity. Okay, so you mean, oh, I know what you mean. So like the back end of how academia works, but without, so like showing you what it takes in the academic world, what you put work in wise. I think I'll have an interesting way because I'll be part-time, so how it works for me is going to be very different. I'll have to do some traveling here and there to go down to my university every few months, and I'll show the back end of what it's like to do a part-time and then full-time work, because it's going to be a lot. And I have a social life. I'm dating, so there's things like that will be affected, and I can show how that happens without revealing like my personal insights, but also just like the what do you call it, like the semantics of organization and that kind of stuff. Christy, don't you dare give me a list of horror and thrillers. Do I like Latin American literature? Yes. My favorite would be Clarice Lispector. I love Latin American literature. I can't obviously read it in its original language. I can read translated. I love translated fiction in general. And yeah, I want to get back to that. In all honesty, I miss reading books. I haven't been able to do it, and I'm trying to find a balance now because I'm freelance, and I'm not gonna lie, this year has been really financially fudgery for me. Like, my finances have really taken a plummet this year. Not out of spending extra, it's just not earning as much money this year, living alone now, everything's got more expensive, just things like that. So panicking and trying to like, oh my god, I'm going to start a PhD, but oh my god, I need to earn my own money and I'm responsible for my own money, I can't rely on a paycheck. Scary. So trying to make YouTube work for me in a more conducive way and taking it more seriously, but also giving like valuable content. Like, I don't want people to just like pay me, if that makes sense. Like, I want people to feel like I'm earning it for my time and stuff. So second Moderna shot gave me side effects for 2 days. Luckily, the 2 days I took off work covered by the state. Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. The chap that I know who had the first jab in it, I think it was Moderna. No, it would have been Astra at Oxford, the Oxford jab, really knocked him out. And it was like 6 days. And that was the first jab. So he was dreading the second. I hope he's okay. Kay Walton, it's insane how expensive academic books and university press books are. Ooh, literally, I had this conversation last night with someone. Should I do a video on that? Like, academic book prices? Or I can just like do a rant, because it is insane. And story. So I was allowed to buy, I'm not on no buy yet, but I am allowed to buy books and texts for my university for PhD. And there was a text that I really needed. And my library, because I'm an alumni, but alumni during COVID are not allowed physical access to the university. They had a copy, but I wasn't allowed to access it because I'm an alumni, not a current student, and COVID restrictions. And I was like, okay. And they had a digital version, but I wasn't allowed access to the digital version. I was like, well, sod this. I need that book. So I ordered it, really expensive book, like £54 or something like that. And then I found a weird, sneaky way to sign up to a website for free where I could download the chapters that I needed. So I had to return the book. So I lost around £5 by sending the book back because I wasn't reimbursed expenses. But I got the majority of my money back. And I was so annoyed that even though I reached out to the university, I was like, hi, I really need this academic book, please. and they were like, you can't have access to it, you're an alumni, so you're not allowed it. And I was like, damn it, I have to buy it. And then afterwards I found a sneaky way to get it, and I was like, damn it, I bought it. So yes, I will do, here is my notes, people. I will do academic book journaling around. Here is my book. I will pop it in. So academic book prices. We're popping it into the thing. Book drama. Because I get it, the prices have to be expensive because no one buys them, but no one, in my opinion, no one buys them unless I mean, obviously there's exceptionally niche bloody books, but it doesn't it's a bit like poetry. They're like, the price of poetry books are so expensive because no one buys them. I was like, well, no one buys them because you have to pay like £12 for like 35 pages, so no one buys them because of the price. Irony. Let's see, what have I missed? Yeah, like you said, it's hard if you are a marginalized researcher with limited resources, or if you're not in the financial position, or you don't have access to particular libraries, etc. It's really annoying. Oh, I'm excited for the master's videos if you do any. I'm applying this fall and I'm super nervous. Oh, don't worry, I will be doing them. I'm doing the PhD ones first, so there'll be 3 PhD ones, just the one that just came out, and then how to write your application, and then how to write your CV. And then I'll do one for the master's. So again, I'll do what you need to consider before you do a master's, how to write the master's application, and then I think you do have to do a master's CV, but it's very basic, so I will double check that. Christy is recommending the Jeff Vandermeer series, all of the best Jeff Vandermeer. I don't think I can read the Jeff Vandermeer. It's not my thing. Ooh, if you like ghost stories, recommend you Pedro Paramo, The Best Book of My Country in the 20th Century. That's a claim. Let's go search that. Is it in English? That's the question. Pedro Paramo. Do they have it? Oh, yes. They have it it has been translated into English. Is there a copy where... I found a copy secondhand. Oh my god, that looks great. Okie dokie, keeping that to my wish list. There we go. Thank you for the recommendation. That's my kind of thing. Ooh, do you talk at all about non-fiction? I'm working on a memoir related to my thesis, and lost somewhere between vignettes and the short story. I do talk a lot about non-fiction. I mean, in the past, I mean, my PhD isn't non-fiction a lot. I mean, like ancient history. I read more non-fiction than I do fiction. I have done for the past couple of years anyway. And on my Instagram, I talk a lot about non-fiction books that I give my reviews. So definitely. Was I just humming the Looney Tunes? Not going to lie, I will hum noises and I don't know that I'm humming them. And another weird story with my ex. I'm not sure if anyone... I think it's called Blade Runner 20-something. There was a Blade Runner film. It was the second one. And my ex asked me to go see it. So I did. And then the theme tune to his ringtone in the film is Peter and the Wolf. And it just keeps going... And of course, like, afterwards, we came out the cinema. I didn't like the film. And then my ex said to me, oh, God, that kept reminding me so much of you. And I said, why? And then he said... well, because it kept doing the Peter and the Wolf theme tune, and you hum that all the time. And I was like, no, I don't. I was like, I've never hummed that. And he went, yes, you do. You hum it all the time. I was like, no, I don't. I've never hummed that song in my life. And it was like 3 days later, and so I'm like cooking, and I suddenly go, da, 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 da. I was like, oh my God, you're right. And they were like, yeah. And I had no idea that for years I'd been humming the Peter and the Wolf theme. I'll just go into a tune sometimes, and I don't realize that I'm doing it at all. And particularly that, I had no idea. So yeah, I have my tune moments, and it's ridiculous. Which is why I have to like bite my tongue during these study with me's, because if it were just me alone, I'd be humming all the time. How do you as a new author keep writing through hard times, and how do you keep focus? I would say, I mean, I'm not a fiction writer. So again, for me, I think I find writing non-fiction much easier because I find it more of a research based. If I had to write fiction, I probably wouldn't be able to keep my focus because I'd just be having to rely on my own brain to formulate stuff, and there's not much going on in my noggin, to be quite honest. I can resource other people's ideas and concepts and reformulate them into other things, but as a fiction writer, I wouldn't be able to keep focus at all because I have no such thing as an imagination. There's nothing going on in my head. So for me, focus relies a lot on just translating research into something new. And I keep focus. Oh, you're writing nonfiction too. I mean, I keep focus by doing what I just did. So again, setting myself a timer for 2 or 3 hours and not budging from that. I just have to write for that period. I have to research what I'm researching and I have to write what I'm writing. And also I break down. So for example, I at least have a plan of what my current book that I'm working on, they're thematized sections. So I've thematized what chapter we will focus on, and then bullet point what chapter will cover what topics, and I just stick to that. So tomorrow, I mean Monday when I get back to work, I know I just finished a section about bipolar disorder. And I finished writing about bipolar disorder, so we're on the next section. So that's how I would go about it. I just focus on ticking off boxes effectively and go through one subject to the next. And my favourite fantasy book, I don't really read fantasy, but I did love The Lies of Locke Lamora by David Lynch. I loved that book. But I'm terrible with series because I kind of don't want to carry on the book. If it was good the first time, I'm scared it will get worse the next one, so I don't read the rest of the series, so it's terrible. Oh damn, you're writing about your experience as a Louisiana Creole with bipolar, mum dealing with sexual abuse in the 90s. Bloody hell, that's a lot of dark stuff. First, take care of your mental health, because that's going to be really dark to write about, and I can imagine keeping focus on that kind of stuff would be quite traumatizing. So I would have someone to talk to in your life that you feel safe talking to keep on check and having that emotional balance. But also just, again, maybe it sounds horrible in saying this, but sterilize your experience by almost like what I've done here. Sterilize it down into to-do lists to write about, like this topic, I'm going to cover this, I'm going to cover this. And I think you'll require some kind of emotional detachment for your own health and safety when you're writing about that kind of stuff. So just break it down into little things and just focus on covering one little topic at a time and take breathers, because that's a really heavy thing to write about. And I obviously can't relate to that. I can't imagine what it's like to have to deal with that. The only thing I would say is, like, yeah, sterilizing your experience into these kind of bullet points, just to I know what I'm trying to say, but I'm not being able to say it for some good reason. Compartmentalize the sections that you're covering and only deal with one kind of thing at a time. So only deal with one trauma at a time, because that's a lot. I'm in therapy, yes, while I write it's hard. Thank you for your advice. I'm using a fiction plot format, 3 acts, yes, that sounds like you're doing great. Just keep your head down and write for yourself and for those who you want to reach. Focus on who you're reaching, and focus on that experience of, like, what you want people to get from your book. But yeah, I think that's a really interesting topic. Topics. It's very interesting. It's going to be hard for you, so please be gentle on yourself. Lullaby is a great book, but I hated reading it. It's so uncomfortable knowing what's going. Oh, is that? Oh no, we're going to the dark book discussion. Oh no. I'm thoroughly enjoying this live chat. It's midnight in Malaysia now. I'm a lawyer and I'm doing some work while listening to you in the background. Hello to Malaysia. All the way over there. So don't work too late. I'm saying, though, I say that. I'm such a liar. I would also work past midnight, so it's all me. Oh, what do I think about Ishiguro and his latest novel? I haven't read his latest novel, primarily because I kind of think he's a bit overrated. Unpopular opinion. I think I've enjoyed one of his books, and everything else I found quite mediocre. Uh, I I I don't get the hype. I even saw him live a couple of years ago, just to see if he was like more charismatic or really interesting to try and. I like seeing the author speak because I'm like, oh, now I've seen more into you. I can enjoy this book more. Like a great one is Ben Okri. So Ben Okri, I really enjoyed the books of, and I really enjoyed The Famished Road. But after I met Ben Okri, it just totally changed how I read his books. He was just the most beautiful, like magical character, and he had so much like life and passion and love in his whole body and language and being that when you read his books, you imagine Ben Okri. So I really love seeing an author and then seeing how I can like read that author into the book, which is why I have such a big problem with like the Harry Potter books, because that's part of my enjoyment is if I know the author slightly, I can see where they're coming from. And with Ishiguro, I was incredibly bored listening to him. I'm just going to say it. I found him incredibly dull and not very. And I was like, yeah, this kind of matches the books. This is how I feel when I'm reading you as well. So I don't think I'm missing out on anything. So in all honesty, and one of the worst books I've ever read is by him, The Unconsoled. Oh my god, one of the worst books I've ever read. Never getting that life back. So yeah, I have problems with Ishiguro. Have I ever dealt with burnout? Have I not dealt with burnout? When am I not burned out? I feel like this past year, my past year has been a state of burnout. And I will be doing a video on it. I do have a lot about it to write about and to talk about, but I think I was doing a podcast on it because I have so much to say that it will be long format on burnout. But if there's anything particular like me to cover, like dealing with it or what, I feel like I'm always in a burnout state of some field, and I don't use that term lightly, but because I particularly this year I felt really burned out because money, resources failing, business failing, not getting as much work, YouTube failing, going through a breakup, doing all the chores myself, getting ill. It burns you out when you're doing a lot by yourself, and I was doing a lot by myself before. But even in a relationship, I had like this little bit of financial help when I was in a relationship, and the same to lose that. So I was already in a state of burnout. And then when I lost that financial support, I was like, oh my God, I feel so burned out. So I get it. Do I have a specific question? Can you give any advice on voice when dealing with slangs and accents? I'm worried as a new writer that I will put off writing by slang. How do I navigate? People don't like words outside SAE, and they can be critical when they're used by certain dialects, particularly when there's no formal way of writing slang. So the people who complain about slang and accents in literature are people who are so sheltered that they basically want everything to be white written for them, and they feel like everyone should cater to them. And this is the only relational thing that I can say, but a great example of a really successful guy who, while white, I know Toni Morrison uses it a lot, but of course she's in this minority, isn't she, where everyone, like, she became famous, but then other black authors copy and then they get critiqued. But in Scotland, we have Train Spotting by Irvine Welsh, and Irvine Welsh is unapologetically Scots in his writing, and there's a huge market in Scotland for people who write in Scots, which means it's written in a Scots dialect and Scots slang, and Scots dialect changes from where you are in Scotland. Like, Scots dialect is very different in the north of Scotland versus Glasgow, for say, but Glasgow is very distinctive, and people are, he's famous for it. He's made it his, I'm not going to apologise for writing in Scots. And he was seen as a revolutionary kind of thing in, late 80s Scottish literature, because Scottish literature wasn't being published. It wasn't being acknowledged much by the English down south. And he was kind of like, I'm not going to pander to English people who don't understand me. I'm speaking to my people and who can understand me and relate to this. So as much as, you know, it's scary and you want to pander to a mass market audience, I mean, also Jasmine Ward. I remember Jasmine Ward when I read her memoir. She wrote in dialect a lot, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure. It's been like 7 years since I read her, but I'm pretty sure she did as well. And you get used to it. Like, as someone who's not obviously like natural around that slang and language, you do become accustomed to it, and I respect it more. And it's more of an dive into the culture. I wouldn't, and I'm saying this obviously as a privilege, but yeah, connecting with someone who's writing so organically, it teaches you more about the world when you're reading it. So sort of people who are like, this should be more whitewashed for me and anglicized for me, because I love learning about more people. Do you ever give up on reading a book? I always think I'm an economic concept called sunk cost when giving up a book. I've thought about that, the sunk cost effect, and I do give up books a lot. I used to never give up reading books, and now I do. Now I DNF all the time, and I've spent the money on it. If it's a bad book, nothing I can be done about it. But I'm not sinking my life into something that's making me miserable. Like my life is worth more than my money. So if I spent like $8.99 on something that is worthless, I'm not going to sink my life into it, because my life is worth more than $8.99. Can ever be. Like, my life is worth more than that 7 days or 10 days it will take me to read that book that I'm not enjoying. So I will always give up books I don't like. How did you know when you were in burnout? I'm going to have to answer these questions in the podcast, because it's going to go on long, and I actually have to go in literally 4 minutes. So burnout, like, how do you know you're in burnout? I'm going to cover this in podcast in a couple of weeks' time. How do you know? Because it's a very specific experience. You're in it. So taking notes, and I'll finish up these questions that are here. Emotionally, mentally, and physically wiped out, just spent. Yeah, that sounds about right. Revo, that sounds about right. I read it as wiped out. Hi, dyslexia. It came in hey, you can make typos, and I will still read them normally. Natalie, Trainspotting is amazing. Yeah, exactly. It's fun to read. Yeah, so see, people like, it's fun to read when it's dialect. It feels like it's I mean, it's not fun to read when it's Finnegan's Bloody Wake and there's no spaces between the words, and it's just literally so Irish dialect that it's basically, it takes years of your life to read. But very few people are as insane as James Joyce to want to write that book. And again, Finnegan's Wake became famous purely because it's so outlandish and outrageous in how it's written. Not always necessarily for, like, people haven't read it go, I love Finnegan's Wake. Like, very few people say that. It's more of like an academic challenge. And even then, people still read it. So, yeah, my life is worth more than money. Yeah, imagine how much of your life goes into how many hours you would put on reading a book that you're not enjoying, and how much of your life is worth that. Is it worth more than $8.99? Like, is your life that you can't get back, that time you can't get back, worth more than $8.99 than 10 hours of reading? Hopefully you should think so, because it is. Okay, what I missed? It's great to make that connection with authors, especially since most people never do. Mostly because authors has passed. How you engage with the text? Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. And narrative can be dialect can be really fun to listen to in audiobook. Actually, I'm pretty sure there was dialect in. Yes, there was. There was Creole dialect in. Come on. The Black Conch Mermaid book. What the hell is it called? The words have gone out of my head. The Mermaid of Black Conch, is that correct? The Mermaid of Black Conch. Yeah. The Mermaid of Black Conch. There was Creole dialect in that, and it was absolutely fine. Like, it was so enjoyable. You got to see the different characters. So if you haven't read that, read that. See how she, the author there, employed it. A lot of it was really, really fun to read, and I didn't find it, abstract or confusing or anything like that. Like, you get used to it. Like, you may be stumped and you may have to Google something, or you have to say it out loud to yourself, and then you sound like a right fool. And everyone's like, but no one's here to listen to me say it out loud to understand what you're saying. But yeah, the Mermaid of Black Conch. But yes, I'm going to wrap this up and have a snack. I deserve a snack. I hope, thank you so much for working with me, and thank you for liking as well if you liked it. I hope you found it useful, and I hope you have a lovely Saturday and Sunday if you're going to carry on working. And I will see you on Wednesday for another video. And then, yeah, take care of yourselves, all of you. Thank you all for joining me for working. I feel like we've all been productive, and if not, we've all had fun. But thank you. I'm sending you all my love. Okie dokie. Take care. Bye bye, everyone. Bye, Natalie. I'm waiting to say bye to anyone who has said that. I feel guilty leaving. So bye, Kay Walton. Bye, Lisa. Bye. I'm so glad to have caught the light. I'm so glad to have spoken to you. Best of luck with your writing as well. Bye, Rebe. Bye, Tristan. Bye, Doc. I'm looking at everyone here. Bye, Christy. So yeah, see you all. Take care. Bye, Andrea. I had to say that correctly. Andrea. I need to make sure I read that. Bye, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.